You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
Hello and welcome to LTID TV, one of two channels. We are here obviously previewing the Rotherham United versus Leicester City game at the weekend. I of course have my co-host Craig in the background, the wise old owl, and I have Matt from, I'm going to get this right, New York Talk, I believe, Matt. He's nodding in the background, I've got it right. I knew I'd rehearsed it well. You think this show's made up on the spot? It is not. How are we all doing, ladies and gentlefolk? I hope you are all well. Before I bring our lovely co-host and guest in, I just want to say, if you're wondering why we're a few minutes late, well, that's because I sent them both the link, but it was the wrong link. So, yeah. One of us, won't say who, feels a bit like Brendan.
Bell end.
I think he was going to play there. That's my favourite button. Craig knows that. I like to use that one a lot. But if you are new to the channel and you're wondering where else you can check us out, you can check us out on all these social medias, YouTube, Instagram. Make sure it is the LTID TV private Instagram and not Chris's personal one, because you will get rejected. It's not because he doesn't like yours, because that's private for him. Follow us on Twitter, the Facebook group. You can find us, TikTok for our funnies and shorts, and obviously all the podcast platforms there, as you can see below. So, now that little shameless plug's out of the way, let me bring in my guest, starting with, well, some say he knows everything about Leicester. Everybody else would say that he is a wise owl. We just call him Craig. Craig, how are you doing, friend? How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Hi, Brad. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. And how are you? Are you all? Are you calm now? Now you've got the right links. We're all good to go. Everyone's here.
Yeah, now I've finished absolutely crapping my pants. I'm feeling good, mate. It's another week. Leicester breaking records, looking to make it one more, aren't we? Keep going, keep this win run going.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's been a difficult watch, but you can't knock the results. So let's keep it going.
That's very true. And without further ado, as I said on the New York Talk podcast, a very handsome Leicester representative was on there. Here is Matt to tell you where you can check out that handsome fox. Matt, let me just get rid of that banner and bring you in properly. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good, mate. Thanks for having us on. Nice to speak to you again. Thank you for doing the preview on our channel. That's up now for anybody that wants to.
It was my pleasure, mate. It was my pleasure. Is that going to work? Is that going to get all three of us in? I'm trying to find one that does all three of us. There we go. I might be able to get the banner up then so people know what it is we're talking about. Matt, obviously, as I said, we were discussing the preview game. You've not had the greatest of starts. How have you felt life back in the Championship so far as a Rotherham fan?
It's always fun and games in Championship for us. Yeah, if the transfer window could have ended before the season started, I think we'd be in a better position. I think we have to be sensible and clever. So what that means is we have to wait, basically. And we potentially going to do a reasonable amount of business. We have already broke his transfer record last week. We've talked, they may be doing it again in the next 10 days with a couple of loans coming in as well. And then I think we'll be in a much better position. So it's tough for a team with our budget. It's tough, and we've got to be patient, especially as fans. It's really annoying as a fan because we shouldn't have to be patient. You've got to be sometimes, and yeah, we could have had a couple more points on the board, but then there's been some really dodgy moments so far. So, yeah, mixed. Say mixed.
Mix, he's putting it politely, Craig. On the other foot, we've had quite a good start. I mean, I know the results haven't been maybe flowing in the scoreline department. We like to leave it better late than never, as we found out against Cardiff. Craig, Leicester broke a record. First time they've won 3 league games in a row, or 4, I think it is. How confident are you going into this game? I mean, Andrew says here, I don't think it's very nice, Andrew. He says we shouldn't be debating this. We should be smashing them out the park. Are you in the same mind threat, or are you still thinking that Enzo ball still needs to tick over, and this is going to be harder than maybe people are anticipating?
As someone more famous than me, probably even more famous than Chris, once said that, yeah, on paper definitely, but the football's played on grass, and I don't think we're in a position yet where we can start thinking we can be smashing anybody out the ground, you know. And full respect to Rotherham, you know. I don't know a lot about Rotherham other than what I've seen over recent years, and I know you seem to have had quite a few managers coming through the club who have instilled different ways of playing. Is it Matt Taylor at the minute, or Matty Taylor? Yeah. And I know I used to work with a guy who retired a couple of years ago who was a Rotherham fan, so I used to get the updates on there, and he was. You always seem to make very good use of the loan system. I used to work with him, and he said you had a few. I think you had a couple from us down the years, but I don't think we are playing free-flowing football that is going to cut anybody open at the minute, unless you decide to come out and throw caution to the wind and go all guns blazing, and then I think our better, more skilled players will probably find the space that we need. But I can't imagine that you for the life of me that you're going to do that.
No, definitely not. No. Matt Taylor's very clever in terms of it. Does the homework. It's not just one rule, and we're gonna do everything the same thing to everybody. There will be a plan. We'll be aggressive. It's not. We're just going to sit back and let you have 90% possession. There's going to be a bit of aggression because it's at home. And I think we've got to. Yeah. But we're not going to try and match your possession based style. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. Sorry, Brad, but it was interesting that Maresca was quite open, probably more open than he should have been when he was talking about Huddersfield. When we played up there, that they went man for man virtually all over the pitch and made it very difficult for us. Now, if I was a manager, I wouldn't be telling opposition managers what's the best way to try and nullify us, but he seems to have been tipping you off. Whether you're going to go down that route, I don't know, but it does make it more difficult for us because we play a lot of short passes into the middle of the pitch. If somebody's up the backside, they have a tendency to just give it straight back, so we don't make progress particularly quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the easiest game. I know Andrew clearly thinks it will be, and I get the weight of expectation now, and I think that's something that's going to slowly grow, isn't it, Craig? The weight of expectation is the more Leicester keep winning, the more they keep eking out these results. When they play these, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, it's just a neutral looking in point of view. When you're coming up against a Rotherham or a Leeds at this point, the way they're struggling, the expectancy of Leicester to win these games, that's the sort of pressure. Is that something, Matt, that maybe you feel Rotherham can play on a little bit? I know it's only game week 4, but maybe that pressure, because we talked many a time, Craig, haven't we, about the hoodoo of when Leicester lose, how will it go? Is that something that maybe you can try and play on at Leicester, or is it just a case of it's too early to try and use that mind game and just keep to a certain game plan?
I think you've got to use it to an extent. I think Rotherham historically have always been better as the underdog. That's where it's certainly the Championship. Obviously, we're one of the smaller fish. You've got to use that as a motivation, which I think Matt Taylor did. But I mean, look at last season. We took 14 points off the top 6 last season. We're a team that finished 5th bottom. That's a great return. We pushed Burnley all the way in both games, unbeaten against Sheffield United. Both went up automatically. So we do tend to play better against the bigger teams in the division. So I think it will be a motivation tactic of Matt Taylor's to say, right, these are coming to our patch. You know, it'll be a sellout. I assume you guys have sold out as well. It'll be a really, really good atmosphere. And like we said before we start recording, there's some big teams that have come to New York and fallen flat on the face because they come expecting a certain thing, and they get a warm welcome, shall we say, by the players and things like that. If it gets going, if the fans get behind the players, it can be a really tough place for the opposition to settle, really.
I think the other thing that comes with us winning is that as long as that goes on, every team wants to be the first to beat us or take points off us. So the team will want that, the crowd will want that, so I'm sure they'll try and make it quite an intimidating place for us to go. So, we're there to be shot at the minute. So it's, but these things quite early in the season are quite good tests for our players as well. How well has he drilled them to keep their nerve, when things aren't going. So far, we've been behind in a couple of games and we've managed to come back. If we go behind and the opposition still come at us, are we going to keep our nerve? So I think in these early weeks, there's a lot to be learned on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is. Now, I don't usually do this. I don't usually take requests. We're not a radio show like what Chris works at on Sussex Radio. I forget which one it is. I probably said that wrong. But Thunderbird, this is just for him because he said here, has Brad played the Rotherham soundtrack for Gorinda yet? Now, Matt, I don't know if you maybe heard this live on TalkSport, but if there is one empty seat in the away end, it will come from a certain Gorinda. And she does not like Rotherham, I'm afraid.
You know what? I'm Premier League. I am elite. I am proper elite. No. I am Gorinda.
He came on TalkSport, the lovely Gorinda. We can't get her on the show. She's an infamous superstar. She's too famous for LTID TV to come on yet, but it works because she said before the Liverpool game, Craig, she said this, didn't you? I don't know if you watched it yourself, but she said, I'm not going Rotherham away. Well, thank the Lord, Gorinda will not be at the stadium to stink out the New York arena for you. So that's one good thing. I said this to you backstage, Matt. Liked a little play on this. It's a little bit of fun. I might keep a little score between guest and co-host and Craig on this one. Very limited history between the two clubs. Not many games. We're going to talk about previous games now. We're going to move on to it, but I'm going to get you both to get your thinking caps on. How many times in the club's entire history, because I know Matt thought he had the answer. He thought he had it, but he didn't realise I do the entire history, mate. I do homework more than others. How many times have Rotherham and Leicester competed? You guys in the comments can get involved in that one. A little brain teaser to think about it. I can tell you it is less than 50 and more than 7 than Matt thought it was, just because I want you on an even playing field. I'm not biased here. Even though we are elite as a club, as Gorinda would say, no biasness here. But whilst you get your thinking caps on, think about that. The last time that these two sides actually met wasn't a league game, funny enough. It was a League Cup game way back in 2011, and it was a bit of a thumping. I'm sure certain Leicester fans would love to see the same scoreline. It was Leicester City 4, Rotherham 1. I believe, Craig, didn't Schlupp score a hat-trick in that? Jeffrey Schlupp?
Did.
To be honest, I can't remember, and which is annoying because I'm sure I would have remembered if Schlupp had scored a hat-trick. That's a little bit...
I mean, Schlupp scoring goals is hard to remember.
Yeah, I think I'd have remembered if Schlupp had got 3 shots on target. So I'm sure one must have...
That's very true.
I honestly cannot remember that. But I'll take it, and I'll take a repeat of the scoreline.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, obviously not one that you probably erased from your memory playing it. But did you go to the game at all? Was it one that you sat there crying into your sofa because you didn't go? Or, I mean, what's your memories of it, if at all?
I remember not going to that one because it was League Cup and we were at Don Valley at the time, at that horrible athletic stadium. So I didn't go to some of the... I still had a season ticket, but I didn't go to some of the League Cup games. I remember Schlupp scoring a hat-trick. So it was one of my better decisions to not go to that game, to be honest with you. Thankfully, I missed that one. But I remember the one before at Don Valley in the prestigious Johnson's Paints Trophy.
Yes. Well, we don't talk about that one. That was a friendly. It doesn't matter. It's the Johnson's Paint. It's not Mickey Mouse Cup, isn't it, Craig? But funny enough, We have not played in the league for nearly 20 years against each other. In fact, we go right back to the last league match we played in the Championship. It was Boxing Day. And you ruined Christmas for us. It's one that me and Craig don't very much reminisce with because we forget defeats. It was a 1-0 win for Rotherham on the Boxing Day, to be precise. It was Boxing Day, 26th of December 2004. I'm sure, Matt, you have fonder memories of that one, don't you?
Yeah, I didn't go to that one. What I would say about that season, I think we went down on a record number of points. I think we only won 5 games all season, or 6 games all season. One of them being you guys. So thanks for a little bit, a tiny bit of joy back in 2004, because there weren't much going around South Yorkshire back then.
Yeah, there wasn't. And I mean, Craig, did you happen to attend that defeat, that gimme of a game against Rotherham back then?
Was it home or away?
That was, I'm going to say away, because in the same season, I have a fact to follow that. I believe it was away. I'm going to say away and hope it was. And if someone wants to correct me in the comments, because I always forget to bracket if they're home and away when I write them down. I get excited.
I'm going to say no, because I've not been to the New York Stadium, nor I think it was Millmore.
Yeah.
And I definitely can't remember going to the Don Valley. So I'm guessing that I wasn't at that one.
Well, you may be interested to know, it's a shame you missed out on such a good game, Craig. It's not like it went disastrously well for us. Coincidentally, though, that was our second game that we ever played Rotherham in the Championship. It wasn't our first match in Division 1, but when it got rebranded to the Championship, quick pop quiz for you. First appearance was also in that season of 2004. It was 11th of September. So I can write down the date and the years, but I forget whether it's home or away. Care to have a guess what the score was that season in the first meeting between the two teams in the Championship?
I think the one Boxing Day was at your place, because this one I think you beat us 2-0. And did Dion Dublin score?
Well, you remember more about it than I do, but yes, you are correct.
Dion Dublin scoring for us. I'm sure it was you guys. I remember we got applauded off pitch because it was just ridiculous that day.
Well, there you go. I mean, that was the first and last meetings we've had in the Championship, because it just hasn't gone great. Now, I'm going to get you before you go, Matt, because I know you're a bit pressed for time and you want to get going. And Craig's got me on a stopwatch as well. He says, "Yeah, I need to be gone." He says so. Last thing for you, I try and give the away fans something to cheer about, and unfortunately, with the minimal games I got, I couldn't really find much. But I did find something. Do you know the last time Leicester managed a notable league double over Rotherham? Oh, look at them both quitting away. I'm good at getting these oldies and the guests thinking.
With how few times we've played each other, there can't be many, if any.
Oh.
Let's throw a year out there, shall we?
Go on, Craig, go on.
League double. 1949.
Wow, I mean, that's a bit drastic, but I can understand you thinking
that. Yeah,
very close. You can pick up a bonus point if you could have a stab at the division.
I'm giving Matt plenty of room to go into there.
Okay. Remember, you can be 1 year under, but not 1 year over. Bruce is qualified. Don't tell me I don't know how to host a game show. But Matt, any guesses? I think you can guess one more a little bit.
I played a few times in the 80s, so 82, sorry.
Oh, he's going 82. I can tell you that Matt is pretty much spot on. I'm going to give it you. It was 1982-83. Leicester were victorious by the same scoreline home and away, so I didn't need to note down which one was which. Leicester City won both games 3-1, and it was in the old Division 2. So there you go. It's been a while since we've been able to do a double with you. But now, we have had one person guessing in the comments. I'm not going to put his comment up yet. I know you guys can't read them. But how many games have we played against each other in our history? Craig, I'm going to let our hostess guest go first, so you have more time to think. What's your number, Matt?
I'll go, I think it's not many, so I'll go 21.
It's gone 21. Craig, you had about 3 seconds to think extra.
Yeah, I'm going to go less. I'm going to go 17.
You're going 17. Well, I can tell you that this time, Craig, you're not spot on. You were against Huddersfield, I believe. You were spot on for that. I can tell you that one of you is closer, but the closest person is Steve Russell in the comments. He said 25 games. He is one off. It is 26 games. Leicester have won 13 of them. There has been 6 draws, and we have lost 7 times to Rotherham.
To be fair, Brad, I didn't think we could say around a certain number. Otherwise, we'd have given ourselves a little bit more of a leeway.
Oh, I'm sorry, Craig. I'm sorry. He's always
fine. I'm just a terrible loser.
Yeah, he's just a sore loser. I mean, he beats me on quizzes. It's bad enough. So when he loses these, he just gets stroppy with me, Matt. Matt, quickly before you go, who's the danger man? Who should Leicester be watching out for in your side? And be brave, unlike others on this show. Be brave and give us a score prediction for the Saturday game.
Danger man's difficult because our goal scorers keep getting either injured or sent off in the 3 games so far. So it's been difficult. Onyedinma scored against Blackburn, then got sent off. He'll be back for tomorrow. He was really, really good against Blackburn. A wide man, bit of pace, bit of size about him as well, to be honest. So he is exciting, good to watch. Another one to watch is the midfielder, Ollie Rathbone, who is just a Duracell bunny, just goes and goes and goes. He's just horrible, I imagine, to play against. It will never stop, and I think that will help sort of congest the midfield, hopefully, and make it really difficult. I know the guys, is one of your youth products, Victor Johansson, in goal. Mm-hmm. One of the best keepers in the division. Such a good goalkeeper. We got him on free from you guys back in COVID season, 2020, I think. If he has a good game, we'll be all right, because on his day, he's Leicester the best keeper in the Championship. So there's 3 for you. Score prediction, I am going to be positive, but I can't put a win for us. I'm going to go 2-2. Few goals, bit of excitement. I'll take a point.
He's going for a Desmond, so he's sitting on the fence. These guests, Craig, they never back themselves for a win. Craig, I know you're part of the prediction league, so let me know first of all if you want me to count this as your Leicester prediction for that as well, or are you going to give a different one?
No, I'll stick with it. I know I've not put mine in yet, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go for us to carry on our victory march, as it were. But only just, so I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester.
Oh, Craig's going for a 2-1 Leicester, which is kind of our favourite scoreline in at the moment, isn't it? It's either 2-1 or at least winning by the odd goal. Matt, you've been a gracious host, guest coming on here. Thanks. I'm the host, not you. I'm changing roles over here. You've been a gracious guest. I'm just going to give you the limelight to tell everybody where they can find you, so they can go and check out a podcast where this handsome Leicester fan was, that we won't mention names. Matt, tell everybody where they can find you, mate.
Yeah, so we've got New York Talk, which are on YouTube. You'll find us. We do the previews out later tonight, and full preview episode for us. We are obviously the preview show with you guys, which is already out. So if you want to go watch 15 minutes or so of us talking about Saturday's game, go over there, subscribe to the channel, give us a like. And if you want audio, it's on iTunes, Spotify, and all that nonsense as well.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Matt. Craig's thinking, I've been putting a naughty step for the quiz. He knows what's coming. If he knows me well enough, he knows what's about to come. Matt, thank you very much for coming onto the show. Your links are in the description down below, as I'm pretty certain they are anyway. I would wish you good luck, but I wouldn't mean it. No, Chris knows that. But after that, I hope you have a very good champion season, and thank you for coming on, my friend.
No worries. Pleasure. See you next time.
See you next time, mate. Now, Craig, I'm going to keep you on the naughty step for a minute, because I've got one thing in common with this. I'm going to do what's called a shameless plug for a minute. And that is telling you, first of all, as you may have seen scrolling down the bottom, go and check out our sister channel, LTID TV 2. It's a quiz channel, a football quiz channel, and I will be now doing women's football on there, Leicester City women's football. So if you're a big fan of the women's football in general, or you love everything Leicester City, do go and show your love and support for that channel. It's going to be great. We've got loads of stuff coming on. And do make sure you're checking us out on the Talk Sport Fan podcast.
The Talk Sport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The Talk Sport Fan Network,
unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the Talk Sport Fan Network.
And this is the other podcast you can find us at.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Something is coming. Something big to this podcast.
Hello, Chris.
So that is where you can find us. And if I could figure out how to do things, I'd be a genius. We'll get there in a minute, Craig. We'll get there in a minute. I had the button earlier. I worked it all out, and now I can't get you in here. What is going on? Oh, for God's sake. I don't know how I'm going to do this, Craig. It won't. Why will that not work? It's supposed to be this one, but it's now only saying one person. Is that it? No, because that moves Craig out. It's ridiculous. It's a stance.
If you play with it long enough, it'll work, mate. That's what I've heard.
That's what I told my exes, but it never kept us in sync. That'll have to do until I don't know why the load. I got it earlier and it worked perfectly. It put me in a little box down there and it was ready for someone else, and now it's not. He doesn't want to play nice. So we'll do it this way. We are, of course, at that point in the show where I get Craig's prediction for what he thinks or how he thinks we should line up. Just going to quickly say, as I see him popping in the back, he's probably going to help me figure it out. Wow, 3 wise monkeys. Well, now you're just down to 2 chimps, I'm afraid, Chris. He's gone 4-0 Leicester and says, sorry to Matt for that. Evening, Nate. And last comment is, looking forward to Saturday's game, but before the fingers crossed, the Leicester Lions Speedway team. Yeah, it's always good to see any form of Leicester doing well. But Craig,
just on that, Brad, many years ago, when I was a young whippersnapper, I worked for many years down at the Speedway, at the stadium. I was there doing greyhounds, Speedway, and the occasional stock cars as well. When the Lions were up there, many happy memories of that. Many happy memories.
Many years ago, he says.
Indeed.
Well, Craig, as I say, we don't want you to kind of get in the mind of Enzo. This is purely your prediction science. We've had a bit of chatter of transfers, which is obviously maybe paying effect. So whilst I casually distract myself to go away where the squad numbers are, so I get this all right. When it wants to load up, we get teams. First team, I'll get there. I'm all organised, never wrong. Am I right in thinking that Hamadson's going in goal, or are you seeing someone else?
No, he can go in. I've tried to think how this team would work. So not necessarily, this isn't a team that I think Enzo will pick. Definitely not when we get up front. I don't think it'll be far away, but I have tried to put players in places where I think they will fit the way he plays.
Oh, well, that would help. I cannot seem, for whatever reason, to bring up the first team. So I don't know shirt numbers. All of a sudden, it's gone from my head. This is annoying. I just wanted the shirts. I just want the shirt numbers. Is that too much to ask? So it's Hamadson. I'm just going to type it in because this is doing me head in. Madsen. I will change this all as I go along because I know I've spelt it wrong. Craig, bear with me a second and help me out here, please. For the love of God, please help me out. Because my phone just will not do what I'm asking it to. There we go. I've got it. I had it. And now, oh, for God's sake. Craig, we've had a few transfer problems with Christensen seeming to leave. Does that affect your pick on left back? Obviously, Doyle has been doing it for a while now. He's been that makeshift winger. He doesn't seem to fit in Christensen. Maybe that's why he's going out on loan. But who are you putting there, and what do you make of that?
I'm particularly on the back. I'm not going to change it that much. I think he's got a settled team at the minute, and even when there's players that you like, so I love James Justin. Yeah, I really like Christensen, and I'm a little bit sad that he's going so soon. But then you start to think, how good are they at handling the ball? How good are they at keeping possession? How good are they at passing to a player? And you can start seeing weaknesses in all of them, to be honest. Christensen, if you're playing a free-flowing... Yeah, thanks for that, Chris. Don't forget, we were at the same school and you were in years ahead of me. Now, yeah, Christensen, if you're playing a free-flowing game where your fullbacks have carte blanche to go bombing forward, then you'd have James Justin and Christensen in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for players who can take the ball in tight spaces, keep the ball, retain possession, I'm not sure either of them. And it's a real shame with James Justin because I'm not sure where he's fitting into this team at the minute. And to squeeze him in, you'd probably have to move Doyle into the second centre half position. But I don't think we've seen enough of James Justin yet to see how he's going to play under the way that Enzo wants to play. So I'm going to stick with the same. Basically, I'm going to stick with the same back four as was. So
you're going Doyle in on the left. See, I'm all diverse, mate. Look, I even make it look flashy for you.
Look at that.
Yeah. Doyle on the left, going Faze as the left centre back yet.
Right centre back, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, he tends to play on the right, doesn't he? With
yes, he does, doesn't he?
With Yannick on the left.
I was going to say, so that means you're picking the infamous. I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? Scapegoat. That's it. See, I know.
That's the scapegoat. To be honest, as I say, the last couple of games I went to Huddersfield, and the same, particularly in these kind of games, he does manage to get his head on stuff, and
Kate would not agree with you on that one. I'll tell you that much. But I think he's played well, mate.
He's played well. Maybe he's found his level. Maybe that's it.
Well, he had to find it in some way because I have to admit, I have been forced to eat some humble pie when it's come to him, and I'm happy to. People might say, "Oh, you just change your mind now. You don't remember what you said." Yes, I do. I hated him. I wanted him gone. I thought his actions in the transfer window were shocking. I know I can understand with the child him not wanting to go to Germany, but I wasn't the biggest fan. I don't hide that fact, but he's proven me wrong.
I still think I'd be surprised if he's one of the starting centre halves in the second half of the season. To be honest,
I think what is obvious is he's holding that Cody role, isn't he, for when he's
exactly. Fit. I think, and he does what Enzo wants his centre halves to do. He's a decent passer of the ball. He's fairly calm. He hasn't got any pace. We know that. So that's why you have to have players around him who can cover for him.
Yeah. Terry, only quickly, we've discussed the fact that Christensen looks like he's going out on loan, but that's about it really on the transfer front. That's for Chris and his show. He does the transfer breaking news. So anything that will come on that.
I did just very quickly on that. I did see a little bit of the Galatasaray game last night. I saw most of the first half. So the winger that we're heavily linked with was playing that game. So he played last night. Looked decent. Is he? I'm guessing he's going to be more under than Mahrez. But he did like to attack. He did get a very good assist. He was very tidy with the ball. He didn't give the ball away a lot at all. And he did seem to have a bit of bite and a bit of an attitude and a willingness to run. So if it does come off, I think he'll be a better option down that right-hand side than anything we already have. So fairly encouraging from what I saw last night.
Well, if that's what we're going off from our chief scout, Craig, there you are. Give him the job there, Craig. Now, I'm just making assumptions here. I should have asked at the start because I'm such a professional. I didn't. But I'm assuming you'd be lining us up in a 4-3-3 or
yeah, I think it's pointless. I may move players around, but I think it's pointless looking at any other formation under Enzo.
Well, there we go. Now, we've got a very packed midfield to choose from. Very, very, very good midfield to choose from as well as that. You've got Cassidy, the new lad who got a goal on debut. Obviously, everybody's sort of fan favourite especially from the signings that we brought in. Harry Winks has been playing well. Dewsbury Hall has seemingly taken that Madison role, if you will, into his stride. A couple of goals already. Chowdhury and Didi. It's a manager's good headache, isn't it? It's the headache every manager wants to have too many to choose from, good players.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that's just straight and bang obvious? Get him in the team.
I think Harry's in. I think Harry's nailed on most weeks, unless he has a real downturn. What I like about him, he seems to have bought into the club, very quickly, and he plays as if it's his team. He does show a bit of passion on the pitch, and we've had enough players who haven't shown that. So I'm quite pleased with him from what I've seen of him so far. He looks like him. And what I've heard about Cody as well, and Cody, even though he's not playing with the squad when he doesn't really have to, still being vocal, still making sure that he's part of the squad, part of the team, even though he's not getting on the pitch. So those two signings, I think when we get Cody back, I think those two are going to be key for us in galvanising the rest of the players around them.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. I mean, I can't sing either of their praises enough for the way they handled themselves around the club. The fact that they're, especially Cody, he's not available for selection, obviously with his injury, but he's still supporting the team. He's doing great in the media, and he just looks like, with Enzo, you maybe had that little fear. Is he going to bring in mercenaries and get the personality wrong? And he sounds like he's found that careful mix with them, and I'm happy to see that. But whilst Harry Winks, go on.
I was just going to say, I read a short article today where in an interview, James Tarkowski at Everton was saying how gutted he was that they didn't keep Cody this season, and he thought he would have been a real asset to them. But hey, he chose a project with a better longer term prospect, I guess.
That certainly looks that way, the way Everton have started this season. I don't want to say anything, but if you're going off early season, two teams in blue could be swapping places come what may. Now, Winks, I have to agree, nailed on for me. I think he's one of them that holds down his team. There's probably another name in that goes with it. But how's your thinking, Chris, Craig? Are we going to get the potential obvious name out of the way, or are you completely mixing up the two playing either side of it?
I don't. I think it's important that we try and stay with a consistent lineup. I think in the past, old Brendan used to fall out with players, so they'd be in and out, and I don't think you got that understanding. And I think even more so with the way that Enzo wants to play, those players have to have an understanding between them to be able to move into the right spaces, run off the ball at the right time. I don't think you can be switching players in and out. So although Cov, he was really good second half, I don't think he's been anywhere near his level so far, KDH. But I think we're going to put him in. I'll be really pleased when the transfer window's shut, because even though I can't see him going to any of these big teams keep getting linked with him. It was Man City today. I can't see him at Man City. I can't see him at Liverpool. I can't see him at Chelsea. Well, I could see him at Chelsea, but then I could see everybody. I could see you and me, Brad, getting a call by Chelsea, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I might be Leicester through and through, but I mean, for 8-year contract on a couple of $100,000 a week, I might be tempted to go and join Chelsea, even if it is just to sit in the tea room. I could live with that. I don't know about you, Craig, but I certainly could. Kind of in agreement with you. I kind of guessed Dewsbury Hall. For me, him and Winks are a bit mainstay at the moment, especially if you're fathoming that certain players are being persuaded. I don't know if that's the right word, but they're currently being encouraged to think long term with their future, and they can be the hero, the leader of Leicester City. The players, the handful of players that everybody talks about over generations to come, when they go, wow, do you remember when Leicester had Dewsbury Hall? And obviously Winks is trying to be like that now, where they go, wow, do you remember them few seasons where he absolutely tore it up for them, and before he moved to so-and-so for X amount of money, continue the Leicester mentor with Manchester United and Chelsea buying players for 80 million. But, it's great to see, and I like it, and I'm with you, Craig. I say it more so this season than ever, but just get this window closed. Get us settled, because this is just the part that seems to drag, and each day feels like a week, and it does my head in. But waffling, we got to get this done, and I want to get you. I want to keep you on track for your timing, mate. Who's completing the midfield? Because there's a lot of options to go for, mate. Was this easy for you? You sticking with it, or is a new boy coming in?
It wasn't easy, but this is where I've tried to think how Enzo deploys his players. So obviously we know from that back four that and the midfield that Winks sort of sits behind the other two a little bit, and then Ricardo will come and join him to make a two sitting in front of the three. Right, Daniel? So then that allows one of your other two midfielders to also move in field as well and have a bit of a freer role. So because of that, I've gone for putting Cassidy in there. I think what you've got then, with Ricardo coming into midfield, sitting with Winks, you've then got two people who I think in Cassidy, from what I've seen of him before he joined us, but also with KDH, who are quite happy running with the ball and carrying the ball. So I think they would suit that. And particularly if we can turn the ball over, we're not moving it through the third, quickly enough. And I think sometimes you see it when Winks did it in the first game a couple of times, KDH did it, and then I think Cassidy can do it when they can break the lines by carrying the ball through rather than pass. Because if everybody's marked up man for man, it's difficult to make the pass. If you can beat your man, then you'll have space to go into. And I think both of those will be able to do that. We've seen it in the Premier League this season. I think I've seen more ball carries than I saw all of last season. The guys at Wolves against Man U were charging through the middle of the pitch there. And it seems to be a thing that ball carriers are coming back, and I think we may have two real good ones here.
Yeah, they're coming back in fashion. Well, I mean, he has been dubbed himself as he said, how do you say it? I remember someone's interview, Craig, I don't know if you did. He said, how do you say in English box to box? Obviously, has a different terminology in the Italian language, I'm guessing. Either way, as long as it translates onto the pitch, I'm not bothered. So we've got I would say that's more of an attacking mind in midfield with Dewsbury Hall and Cassidy with his box-to-box mentality. So, Craig, you're keeping a formality in the squad. I'm going to leave the striker and left winger role because I've maybe got a feeling I know where you're going to go with them. With talks of this winger coming in, is it same old until we get some clarity on that position? Are you sticking with Marcel? Are you giving McAteer another run, or is someone else completely playing on that wide ride?
I'm going to stick with what I went with in the last game, knowing full well that he's never going to get picked in that position. So let's do the left wing. So Mavididi is going to take the left wing spot. He doesn't track back enough. He doesn't work particularly hard, I don't think, going back in the other direction. But in a team that's got a lot of the ball, you want your players going forward. And what I will say about him is, even if he doesn't beat his man, that won't stop him trying the next time he gets the ball. And I think that's the encouraging thing.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well, you don't necessarily need your wingers back, because if they're always coming back to collect the ball, not only are Leicester very clumped together in their own half, but they've got no outlet. You talked very highly on Vestergaard's ability to pick out a pass, and we've got them throughout the team, right? I'm just making a point here. If Leicester find themselves where they are being deep because Rotherham are really pressing a high line and they're trying to come at us, we need an outlet. And if you have your wingers back in your own half, you're just not able to kind of break them up. You're not able to kind of give yourself that breathing space. So I kind of understand. I'm all for Mavididi. I'm not really that bothered if he does his defensive duty. I want to see him tracking back, of course, but I don't want him, basically being 2 foot in front of Doyle, because it's just detrimental to what he's been brought to do for the squad. So you're working it on the left. I've got a funny feeling that I'm going to be very happy with your choice of middleman, because the age-old question seems to be getting answered. Now, bear with me a sec. We all know that I have a certain favourite of mine. I want this man to be playing up front. Sorry, we're back live. I'll cut it out. No one will see that. But Craig, I know there's a bit of this whole Crystal Palace, the madness of the end of the window. It usually comes up. I know Leicester are very keen You know, all the reports are he wanted to leave. Now he wants to stay. There was talks early doors of a new contract being offered, or at least in the works. Does that affect your ability to maybe pick him? I know it sounds easy to go, well, the more you play him, the more you kind of convince him to stay. Or do we look at the Christensen situation and kind of go, well, if you're not going to commit and you're going to and ah about other teams like Palace coming in for you, do we potentially drop him? I mean, it seemed ridiculous with rumours going around about Daka as well. But
yeah, I mean, it is. You know, if he is looking to go or he's on the verge of it, it's a bit hypocritical of Enzo to be picking him when he's not picking the others based on the same reason that they're all negotiating moves away. So that tells me that he must have heard from Iheanacho and his camp that he's fairly happy to say. It may be one of those situations where he's not angling for a move. If a move happens and the club want to let him go, he'll go. But he's quite happy to stay as well. Whereas some of the other players, you think maybe their agents are being a lot more active and trying to get them moves. But I am playing Iheanacho.
Yeah, this is why I asked Chris to give you.
There is a but I'm playing him on the right.
Oh, he's mixing.
Now I did this in a team the other week because I think it just gives him so much more scope to cut in on off that side. I think he's much more dangerous than any other player. For someone, if you want someone cutting in off the left-hand side and getting shots off, we haven't got anybody better at the club for me than the Iheanacho. So I think he'll be more dangerous. And what that allows him to do is, again, like Cassidy moves in field, I think when we're in attack, it gives Iheanacho more scope. Rather than being stuck in the middle of two towering centre halves, as I would imagine he's going to be, I think he's going to find more space out wide, and then it allows him to create and go at one of them, you know, and be able to turn and go out and get shots off. So I would be trying him on the right, because I haven't seen enough from anybody else who's played out there. Yeah. The young lad scored a great goal last week, but to be honest, that was it. And he just doesn't look natural on the right hand side to me. So,
but is it maybe a case of we have to give these players the game time because this new guy, if we do sign him, it's not a done deal by any means necessary. We've heard a few contrasting reports on it's a permanent deal, it's a loan with we have to sign him afterwards, but it's to do with potential of not being able to get players out the door. Is it kind of a case of what if we don't give these players a chance on the right, they'll never get in the team? Or is it just a case of...
Well, it may be. I think he wants Iheanacho through the middle, and he's really got no one else to play out there. I think, you could put Pratt out there, you could put Albright out there, you could put the young lad, Marcel, and you could put McAteer, but the two young lads for me haven't shown enough. I know they haven't had a lot of time, but we're at a point now that we're on a roll. We should be trying to put the pedal down because there is going to come a dodgy period of the season. So the more points you can get on the board now. So I think we can't be giving these players time to just bed in and give them a few games here and there just to help them develop. I wish we could. Maybe you can do that later in the season when you've got a few points in the bank. But for now, I think we need to just go for the jugular, as it were. And I think I'd be putting Iheanacho out there anyway.
Yeah. Well, Chris, if you're watching, I didn't quite keep an eye on the time, but you may want to know that somebody, and it wasn't me for a change, Chris, it wasn't me if you're watching this back, that said that Iheanacho is the best Leicester have out there. Maybe it's not just me that sees Iheanacho and looks at him like this. Iheanacho appreciation over here, Craig. I'm all for it, mate. I love it. So, with that being said, Craig, you don't want Iheanacho playing as a striker. You think he's the best Leicester have in the world on the right to utilise him the best. So, the question asks, Everton seemingly, or other clubs apparently, seemingly paying 23 million for a certain Patson Daka. It's not somebody I'd like to see us lose, especially if we're not planning on spending on a replacement. I still would like to see him get a chance in the Championship. Are you giving him that chance, or are we seeing the old guard Vardy take the strike?
I gave Daka a chance a couple of games ago, and he's not been anywhere near the squad, so I can't. It's pointless me even saying I'll play him there because he's just not going to play. So I think this shows up where we are a little short. I think we've got enough fullbacks for 2 or 3 teams. We've got enough midfield players. It's in that last third that I think we're a little bit lightweight, and we're not really being linked with many people. We're not really being linked with another centre forward that I've seen anyway. We're being linked with wingers. So for that, you've got to be confident that Iheanacho is going to stay. But for this one, I'm gonna have to go with Vardy through the middle. I think. So I'll tell you what. The other option is in this is that whether he plays with a false 9, and Cassidy could probably play that kind of role, and then you bring in someone like Pratt as the other anchor in midfield alongside Winks and KDH. That may work as well, because then the thing is, particularly in the lower leagues, and it is a lower league. It's the level of quality in the Championship has got much better over recent years, but old-fashioned, I'll say it, more old-fashioned centre halves don't know what to do if they haven't got someone to mark. They're kind of lost. So if you almost play like a false 9 who's drawing them out, drawing them deep, then you create space for your wingers to run into, or for deep midfield runners as well. So occasionally it wouldn't be a bad idea to see how that would work as well. But on this occasion, we'll put Vardy in.
Well, there you go. That is Craig's team. He has a 4-3-3, so he's not changing anything up there. He has the same back line that we've seen throughout the season. The majority of it, he's gone Doyle on the left, Faze and Vestergaard. To most people's surprise, is a genius in the Championship as his centre-back Patterson. Hermansen is back fit, so he's in goal. Pereira on the right. He's gone with a midfield 3 of Winks, Dewsbury Hall and Cassidy. The new man's taken a shine in. He's gone with the left of Mavididi. He's gone with Iheanacho, but not where you know him. He's gone with him as our best right winger in the world, according to Craig. Just saying it, mate. I'm just making sure everybody knows. And I'm happy to see him in the team. But he's gone with old reliable, as some people might say, Jamie Vardy up front. Craig, this has been a great show. I've really enjoyed it. And thanks for always being here to help me through the co-host when I call you Chris, Craig, Daniel, Stephen, everything else in between. I'll call you Patrick one week because I'll just be mumbling my words. But thanks very much for coming on, mate.
No worries, mate.
Just a quick one. Are we going to get an early goal, do you think? Or are we going to leave it late against Rotherham? Or is this the end late on?
I mean, I think it's going to be similar to the Huddersfield game, to be honest. And we had the chances to get an early goal there, but we just didn't take them. But I hope that we can try and push forward and get an early goal. So I'm hoping for a goal in the first 20 minutes, let's say.
That would be lovely. It'd be very un-Leicester-like this so far. This is quite lovely. Craig, thank you very much to you for being always the wiser and better dressed co-host. I am going to let you go, mate, because I know you need to be whistling off, and it was my fault. I know, it was my fault we were late starting. So thank you very much, Craig, for all you've done.
No worries, mate.
End of here, and I'll see you later, mate.
Right. Cheers. Thanks, everyone. Cheers, Brad.
Bye. So that was I've brought him back in to kick him out again. Get out, Craig. Come on. This good-looking one's got to be on the screen. There you are, folks. That was your Leicester's LTID TV preview for the weekend's up-and-coming game. Just remember, if you are listening and catching up on our podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. Please take the backs out of your headphones when you hand them back into to reception. And thank you very much for joining us. If you do want to be part of the show more, make sure you're checking out our Leicester's LTID TV2 secondary channel. That's where you'll find quizzes and all sorts going on. And until next time, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from my co-host Craig. See you later, everybody.
From
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.